Hello, Internet friends. We are going to talk to you today about our ups and downs of our first year of traveling on the road. We've hit our 1 year anniversary, and so we're just going to run through some of the things that we've noticed along the way that, we've had a lot of ups, but we've also had some downs. So I guess we'll get right into it. What's the first one for you?
Our first one I'm going to talk about is us and communication. Mark and I have worked together at two companies before we embarked on this. We have had a boat for 17 years. We successfully can back it down without yelling at each other.
Yeah.
And if you are a boat owner, you know that that's a big deal. Much like backing in a camper at a spot, it's the same thing. So I think that when we started off on this trip, we already knew that we worked really well together, and that I don't think it was a problem for us to worry about.
Yeah, so I was just talking to somebody yesterday, and he said, man, how do I get your life? And I said, it's easy. You sell everything, buy a camper, and then you spend 24/7 with your family. You live in a tiny space. You don't have a lot of storage, and you're poor. And so he said, everything I could be okay with except for living with my family full time. So that is definitely a big issue. You have to be able to communicate and get along with the people that you love and call family.
Yeah, and I'll touch on this a little bit on one of our other first year anniversary videos about the kids, but living in a small space, with your spouse is one thing, but living in a small space with 3 little kids and all the stuff that comes with kids is a whole another situation. But for the most part, we like them too.
Yeah, so 28 feet with 5 people and 2 cats is a small space, so you got to be able to get along with everybody and get over things pretty quickly. So that was definitely number one.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a pro or a con. It's probably a con. But we do get to spend a bunch of time with our family, which is what we were trying to accomplish when we left. So so it's a pro too.
All right, so our next thing we're talking about, and I think you probably already figured this out, but just in case, I'm going to tell you how awesome it is. Our house moves.
Yeah, so that's definitely a pro. If we don't like our neighbors, we just get to get up and move the next day or week.
If we don't like our
whatever.
Location, we just move to a different spot.
Yeah, so, we'd lived in Florida all our lives, spent a ton of time in Orlando.
Yeah.
And so we'd seen everything there and done everything. Disney was great. But, we wanted to get out and see the world and travel. So now we get to do that, and we get to pick the places we go and the things that we see, and that is definitely awesome.
That's definitely a pro. A con, though, our house moves. And what I mean by that is Cooper is 45 pounds, maybe 47 pounds, and he makes the house move more than anybody.
Yeah.
And so I know that people say that there's all different kinds of products out there, and yes, we have X-Chocks, and we've done all the tricks.
We stabilize, we level, we lock the tires, we do everything we can, but it still shakes. So
yeah, and I think it's definitely better than when it was in the beginning. In the beginning, like I said, Cooper's the tiniest person in our house, and you could feel him move. You can feel the cats jump off the bed, is enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, that being said, does it bother you as much anymore?
No.
In the beginning?
You kind of get used to it.
In the beginning, it was oh my gosh.
I mean,
please stop walking in the house. You're making everything shake in here.
All our sailing friends, their boat moves all the time, right? It rocks. So...
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing with this. You kind of just get used to it and over it. The other con about the house moving is that it moves when it's on the road. So you hit a pothole or a speed bump, or there's just some really terrible roads like Louisiana, you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And even out here in the Pacific Northwest where we're at right now, we've hit some bumpy roads and things shift. So you got to secure everything before you leave. And then even then, sometimes things fall out. At one point, we had our cat litter in front of the fridge, and we moved, and the fridge opened while we were in transit, and all the food went into the cat litter.
Yeah.
So then you had to clean all that up. So that's happened a couple times. We don't have it there anymore, so it's not an issue.
Yeah.
But
And you'll see, like, when we do the tour of some of the stuff that we use to try to secure things better when we're moving. But that's definitely a con sometimes.
Yeah.
Because there are definitely times where it's oh my gosh, we have 30 minutes to hurry up and clear our campsite. And so I may forget to put in like a device to hold things in place. And we get down, this happens all the time. We get down the road and I go, I forgot to get my drink from the side table.
That's happened like the last 3 times.
Yeah,
so
it happens.
I literally have to pull over. Someone has to jump in and grab the drink to make sure it's not spilling all over the place. So
bonus, it hasn't spilled in the last 3 times. So
it fell over but didn't spill. So okay, so that was house moves. What's the next one?
Less is more. I think
Is that a pro or a con?
both.
Okay, why is it a con? I shouldn't say con. It's a down.
I think it's hard to determine initially when you get into this lifestyle what you are or are not going to need. And I think organizing is the other con of it, is because the stuff that you realize that you do need is, how do you organize it all?
Yeah, so people that hike the AT, right, when they go on a 2,000-mile hike, they pack way too much stuff. And the first week they start just dumping stuff. And so we were the same way, right?
For the first 6 months?
Right, you're packing everything you need on you to live because you're traveling full time. So the first 6 to really 8 months, we went to Goodwill and dropped off stuff at
almost every location that we went to.
Yeah, pretty much every location that we went to.
I did spring cleaning at least like twice a month because I'd be like, oh no, we don't need this or that. So I think that is a very big learning curve. And so for people who are just getting started into this, don't be discouraged, because I will never forget the time when we first got this. And because we were planning to move to a boat, I had saved more kitchen stuff than, I thought, because I'd have a little bit more room. And I anticipated having to get rid of some of that. But I remember Mark bringing the 2 boxes in. I sat here on the couch. I looked at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cabinets that I have, and looked at the box and looked at the cat for like probably 20 minutes. I sat there and just kept looking at stuff and looking at stuff. Now I had Tupperware out the galore, because I mean actual Tupperware stuff. We had kitchen gadgets, and I think I pulled out 3 things, and I told Mark, take the boxes away. So if you were in Lake Nona at the Goodwill near there, you probably scored all of my kitchen stuff, because that was,
So we'll probably have to do a whole video on storage, because it's a big topic, and it's something that we've struggled with for this first year. I think we're in a good spot now.
Yes.
But to give you an idea of how little storage you have on a camper, it's fall right now. We love fall decorations and Christmas decorations. We donated all that stuff last year at the end of the holidays to Goodwill, because we don't have any place to store it. So we just figured we'd buy more this year. And so, we've just tried to go real cheap to get holiday decorations.
Right, so you're hitting your Goodwills and the dollar stores and things like that, or if I find stuff on sale, the dollar bins at Target. That's the way we're really trying to, decorate, because I'm most likely going to give it all away at the end of the season.
The good news is it's not a big space, so there's not that much decorating that you need to do. But we can't store it, and shipping it back to someone that can ship it to us next year is just really cost prohibitive. It's cheaper to just give it away and then buy new stuff.
Yeah.
So that's something we've had to adjust to for sure.
Yeah, a definite pro though for the kids. I think they've really learned that less is more. They each had their own bedroom in our house. I mean, we had a 2-story house. Everybody had their own bedroom. They had massive amounts of toys and clothing and shoes and stuff that they would use for a day or maybe a week, and then it gets shoved to the back of the closet and doesn't get used again until I say, let's clean up the closet. Oh, that's where that thing is. Now I want to play with it. I think that the kids have really learned over this past year that you don't need all that stuff.
Yeah.
They really play outside a lot. I know people are like, well, what do you do when it rains? Well, I have a bin full of games, and I try to keep games, to a small space.
Yeah, we've got board games and card games and all kinds of little things to keep them happy. Of course, they have some electronics that they get to use.
Right. And we're big into coloring. That's probably our favorite thing to do when we're boondocking is the adult coloring books. And I've collected some from the national parks that we've been to, some of the states that we really enjoyed. And so, I mean, we all have really nice marker sets. And so we'll sit here and color, and we enjoy all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously less needs to be more in a camper, and it probably should be in a house too. I mean, we had a 2-story house with 4 bedrooms, and it was just full of stuff, and it was really hard to get rid of it all. Not so much like I'm sad to get rid of it, but how do I get rid of all this stuff? So it was kind of nice that we can now just kind of pick up and move because we have less stuff. It also makes us choose what we buy more. You know, you have to be more thoughtful in what you're picking up. So, you know, if I see a shirt that I like, is it really good enough to bump one of my other shirts that I have? Because I only have so much space for shirts. So if I buy a new one, I probably have to get rid of an old one. So, you know, you have to think about stuff like that. It's definitely been harder on Jen than it's been on me.
It is definitely harder on me because I do enjoy decorating the house. I like to decorate for the holidays. I liked to spruce up rooms and, change out a carpet here and there. So it was definitely harder for me to stop that behavior or decrease the amount of times that I do that kind of stuff. But I do see the benefit in it as I'm not spending just, and not that I ever went and spent like stupid amounts of money on doing that kind of stuff. But I see that like we're not doing that and we're not spending that money, and instead, we're going and visiting this museum or we're taking this boat ride. And to me, I think that's what we've really learned.
Yeah.
Is that's more important.
And we sort of started this mindset before we left, right? So we were telling family and friends and stuff when the kids were young, let's get experiences and not stuff, because they have tons of stuff. They already had tons of stuff. They got tons of gifts all the time from people.
Yeah.
So we started getting into more like, give us season tickets to like one of the theme parks when we were in Orlando, or like some other kind of experience that we can do.
Science Center or
So we get less stuff, we get a lot more experiences and memories. So with that said, let's move on to laundry.
Yeah.
So we spent like 12 minutes talking to the camera about laundry, so we're going to do it a little quicker this time and not throw this video out. So.
Okay. So laundry, there's 5 of us. There's not a lot of space in here. Where do we put it? That's an excellent question. We ask ourselves that on a daily basis.
Yeah. So, we don't have a good spot to put our laundry. We've moved things around constantly. We don't like to do our laundry a lot, and so it piles up. We don't have laundry in our RV, so we have to take it to a laundromat. There was an old video where we had a wash machine, but we had to get rid of it because it just really didn't work in the West.
For reasons of, in the East Coast, you could dump it safely because we used soap nuts, which is all natural, to do our laundry, and there were places to hang it. You get out west here, and we're either in the desert, where you can't hang your laundry, or there's just a lot of places that have rules that you can't do that. So we ended up getting rid of it, like Mark said.
That being said, we use a laundromat. The up of that is that we get to do laundry all at once, so I can do 2 weeks of laundry literally in 5 different wash machines, and then put it in 7 dryers and have it dried in 20 to 30 minutes. And so laundry takes us only about an hour and half to 2 hours every couple weeks.
Yeah.
But it just means that we have a big bag of laundry sitting somewhere in our living space.
And I mean, like, the bag is the size that I could fit all 3 children in. It's huge.
Think of like the 1950s like army guy coming home in a movie and he's got that giant duffel bag. We literally have 2 of those when we go to a laundromat. So sometimes it's heavy for me to pick up. That's how much laundry we have.
Yeah, so I know some of you might be thinking, well, why don't you just put it in the bathroom or shower? Because that's where a lot of RVers put their laundry. And the reason and we have certainly done that over this past year, but we have 2 cats, like Mark mentioned, and we found that ultimately after moving the litter box in several places in the camper, that the best location for the cats that they like the best and contains, kind of contains the least amount of mess for them is the shower. Yeah. So the laundry doesn't fit in there. We have an extra large cat litter box for them because we have 2 cats. We make sure they have enough space. And so again, that's why our laundry is randomly moved around.
Yep.
And not in our shower.
Yeah.
So, and just really quick, why don't we have a wash machine?
Because they're expensive and you can't dump them anywhere. So you have to be hooked up full time. And we like to boondock, which transitions into our next topic. So one of the things we really like, it's definitely been a positive for us, is boondocking. So that's on BLM land. It's public land where you get to stay for free.
We also dry camp a lot, which is maybe sometimes in state, federal, or national campgrounds where they usually have just a few amenities like a fire pit, a picnic table, and sometimes a pit toilet.
Yeah, and we even have been doing Boondockers Welcome. and Harvest Host, and we have a new Harvest Host affiliate code that we will put down in the description below to save you some bucks on joining up to Harvest Host. But we've had some positive experience with that recently. They just featured us in their newsletter. And so that's also dry camping, usually at like wineries or farms or things like that.
Yeah.
So,
but overall, boondocking is probably one of our favorite things to do because we get these great spots.
yeah, we get to go to places that most people don't go to. It's not crowded.
Yep.
And we love being out in nature, which is, a major reason why we're out on this journey.
It's usually quiet. I mean, it's really probably one of the best things you do when you're an RVer full time, or just a weekend RVer even.
Yeah.
I highly suggest that you get out there and do that.
And it can allow you to be close to the places that you want to be, like national parks, without having to pay a fortune at certain RV parks. So,
but on the flip side,
on the downside of that, cell reception is usually bad. You got to make sure to provision properly because you're going to be out in the middle of nowhere usually.
Yeah, I mean, because I have to worry about, like, if we're going to go out somewhere, like we were just on the coast, and I tried to make sure that I did have things like the cats, because they have specific food they need. I know things that like are far out, even if you can get them at the grocery store, they're usually like $2 or $3 more. So I'm not interested in paying $5 for a thing of milk. So so we tried provision and prepare for that kind of stuff. And in addition to that, we also have to
take care of water. So we have to bring fresh water with us, which means you have to pump it up in your tank and take it with you, which weighs down your camper a little bit more. So that's a thing to consider. You also have your black tank and your gray tank, so you can't go just dump those, right? You gotta store everything until you leave the BLM land.
And we need to make sure that they are completely empty before we head to go to boondocking. And then I usually try to find somewhere close, maybe
to
within
dump.
an hour after we've left our boondocking spot, so we can quickly dump that out so that we're not having to carry that weight with us to our next location.
Yeah, and then the last thing is propane. So we use propane to run our oven. It also runs our furnace. So if it's cold out, we need to be able to run the propane.
The stove and the refrigerator. And
the refrigerator as well, when you're off power, runs off of propane, which seems kind of counterintuitive that fire is making things cold inside, but it works. But you have to maintain those tanks and make sure that you've got enough when you go out. So those are some of the considerations when you're boondocking. I wouldn't say those are really cons. They're just things to be aware of when you're out there. But
I've gotten really good at like finding propane stops for us on the way, or free dump stations. And I think it was like out in Colorado, they had those one gas stations that they all have like free dump stations at them, and they're amazing.
Maverick gas stations.
They're like the best.
Had dump station water, like clean water, fresh water. So those were really good. Our last thing we wanted to talk about in this video was storage. Obviously, everybody always asks, where do you put everything? And the answer is, as you heard earlier, less is more. So we've gotten rid of a lot of stuff.
But that being said, we travel all weather conditions. I can't say that we've been 100% summer at all.
No, we've been chasing 70-degree weather, and so like yesterday we were at Mount Rainier, and
we started off in like 45.
Yeah, 40, in the mid 40s, and so we just had light jackets or whatever, and then we went into the park, and all of a sudden we had lunch in the snow. So the kids had full snow boots and snow gear, the pants, the jackets, the gloves, and so we got to keep all that stuff with us because we never know what conditions we're going to be in. Now that we're getting late into fall here, I guess, at least and up where we're at, it's already into fall and it's cold. So we're not going to get back up into the 80s probably anywhere that we're going to be until like after the new year. So so we have to bring a bunch of cold weather gear.
So that being said, we have a full range of everything from bathing suits to snow gear. So I have to be really careful about how much stuff we have, and the kids, how much stuff the kids have. And I know people are like, oh, well, you just need to layer. Yes, but I still have to have a couple long sleeve shirts, and I still have to have long pants for them. Yeah. And we're not one to quickly turn on the furnace in here either. Everybody's got extra blankets on their beds and things like that, and if they don't need them, they fold them up and they put them at the end of their beds. But in addition to like just clothing, it's like storage of our everyday stuff, like your cups, your kitchenware kind of thing. They're stored under our bed. There isn't an inch of it left right now.
Yeah, so storage is pretty much just a downer.
Yeah.
There's not much great about it in a camper. So with that being said, we're running kind of long. I'd love to hear questions and comments that you guys have, any ideas for future videos. I think some of these topics will end up becoming their own full videos in the future. Be sure to like and subscribe, click the notification bell so you get notified when our new videos come out. And we have a Patreon membership so that we can continue to do these videos. We'd love for you to head on over to Patreon and become a member and help support us making these videos and helping us get more equipment and software so we can make better videos for you guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
We're looking forward to year 2.